In every election, voter and civic education are necessary to ensure that all constituents, men and women alike, understand their rights, their political system, the contests they are being asked to decide, and how and where to vote. Now, for an election to be successful and democratic, voters must understand their responsibilities and rights and must be sufficiently knowledgeable and well-informed to cast ballots that are legally valid and to participate meaningfully in the voting process. Now, as Nigerians head to the polls tomorrow, we look at the basic things required for voters to exercise their civic rights. And right now we have in the studio Chairman, Partner of Electoral Reforms, Ezenwa Nwagu. He's also being joined by a public affairs analyst, Dr. Larry Oluwani. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on Daybreak this morning.
Good morning.
All right, so let me just begin with Mr. Ezenwa. Now, how crucial is voter education, and what kind of content, is most successful in engaging potential voters in voting?
Well, I think first the assumption is that voters need to be educated. I think there is that assumption, and so we've always kicked into a ritual in terms of every time that election comes, we draw up programs that we say are targeted at. But I think that we need to stretch more in terms of civic education rather than voter education. As important as it is, because election is a series of events. Is not an event. So you start from perhaps the voter registration period. A lot of people don't understand that an authentic voter register is indeed the cradle for credible elections. So how much do we invest in our citizens the understanding of the power that they are registering imbues on them, the value of their citizenship? So that's for me where it starts. So voter education: how do you vote? How do you thumbprint? How do you what party? The logos of the party, the individuals, the content. No, not even that's also another challenge. Election also is not about presidential candidates. The stream down to the state assemblies, the concentration of conversation on the presidential election is a challenge for civic education as well, in the way that I've seen it framed. So my sense really is that we need to take the conversation much more, stretch it for a period rather than these episodic interventions that we're having. That's perhaps.
Dr. Larry, you listened to Mr. Ezenwa.
Can we do Ezenwa? It's just okay.
All right. Well, you've heard his opening statement and the issues he sort of brought up, especially in his the closing part where he talked about an episodic intervention. Now, where is the missing link? Is it INEC, not appropriating what should be the priority, or the political parties themselves? Where do we have that missing link, where we should have this continuous education, enlightenment, and engagement, if you like, as suggested by Ezenwa?
No, thank you very much. Yeah, I really appreciate that thought. And it's very simple. The missing link is just the Ministry of Education. That's the truth. This we have, by now, we're supposed to change our curriculum to the extent whereby by the time you are in primary 6 at worst, you're supposed to have understanding of who you are, what does our nation stand for, and also age. In fact, by the time you get to 16, 17, you're already eager. You are already preparing that, oh, mommy, daddy, I will be 18 by next week, I'll go and do my registration. There's not something that election is coming the next 4 years before you open registration portal. You're supposed to register the day you become 18 years old as a citizen of this country. So, and it's done, not the work of INEC per se. It's supposed to enter into our curriculum. Like what they say, like civic education. So they take you from primary, secondary, you hear the same thing. SS1, SS2, you are hearing the same thing. By the time you are clocking 18, you cannot wait any longer. So that is the missing link. So at the same time, we don't have a choice, but it's not too late. If the next National Assembly coming can work towards this, it will help us a lot. There will not be all this kind of rush all the time. And there will not be too much of attention. So majority of us will have been registered, have our PVC 2-3 years ago. So there will not be issue of rushing all the time. So I believe we are going there. But we cannot keep saying, this is where I have a little challenge, we cannot keep saying that we are a developing nation and we are not moving towards a developed system.
Before Dashan comes on you, Ezenwa, Dr. Lanre raised some questions, and what immediately comes to my mind is the whole hassle to even get registered. I mean, if you say we should catch them young, then this process should be seamless. Do you even need to get some kind of special registrations to be part of this process? As we have in Nigeria, you take eternity to show up at these centers. It takes forever to get you captured because of either faulty machines or networks not being available, or some staff absconding from duty posts. And then when that is done, to retrieve your cards becomes a problem. I went 3 times. That's in the FCT. I'm not sure what the experience of people are in other places. We ran several reports here where the INEC itself kept directing people from one point to the other. And then you go through all of that process before you come into actual voting. When in other places, once you have a social security number that identifies you, you basically show up in this booth, get identified, and cast your vote. So is there a problem, with this cumbersome process with regards to people even taking up, even those who are informed, taking up that civic duty?
But you see, it's very interesting, and I'm excited that Dr. Lanre came from that perspective. Truth is, you see, for many things in our country, it's about power. It's just about investing power somewhere. If you unbundle the process, you remove power. Why should anybody, have to go through the kind of stress? Why? What is the look? Where in the world do you see that happen? Where? So just go back, flip back. After 2007 elections, the President Yar'Adua said, "Look, the process that brought me to power, the Waste Commission, in 2010, INEC conceived the idea of, first of all, cleaning the voter register. That's where we got into this brouhaha, and we bought laptops and went to every ward. As we speak today, Dr. Lanre, those laptops are not anywhere. You can't find them. So we went to every ward. People will queue. You have to, and all of that drama. That's where this whole thing. So, and once you start a process in Nigeria, it becomes a ritual.
Yeah.
So procurement, when you see things from the lenses of procurement, that okay, this new commissioner has come, he has to do his own, he has to clean the voter register. After 2011, who went to find out whether there were still issues of underage registration, foreigners, and even today, what's their name? The immigration department still told us that they arrested some foreigners with our PVCs, telling you that this whole process has not been able to deal. So what he suggested makes absolute sense. If you turn 18, approach the registration area and get registered. if you lost your process. But we are also people who like fire brigade as a people. We are also fire brigade minded. You know, you lost your thing, you will not talk until you hear that there's election. Then you start running, you know, and then when you do that, when you create that situation, you empower somebody to now think that is, and then sometimes exploitation now happens. You know, they take advantage of the fact of that rush. So if we unbundle this process in a way that, and then the question you ask, what is the role of political parties? Political parties, are they mere vote catching machines? Are they simply for contests? When you want to when you know, I don't like to use contest because there is no contest. So if you want to run for office, then you identify a political party. But all of us who went to school, if he talked, even if it is government you studied in secondary school, you know that political parties have a bigger role of civic education. And in some other places, you have civic educators employed by perhaps even the National Orientation Agency, for instance, whose job is to do civic education. So, but you have 774 local governments in the country. What do you call them? NOAA, National Orientation Agency, has offices across in this 774 local government. Imbued in their program is also this civic education. But go and check their budget and see how much government that is interested, in putting billions of naira into buying machines for voter registration, how much it puts into institutions that have responsibility for civic education. Go and check the role of INEC. The role of INEC, according to the law, is not just conducting elections. There is also in it civic education. It has responsibility to improve the democratic process and political consciousness of Nigerians through education. It's there. So we focus on the things that are pecuniary, the things that increase our pecuniary benefits, and just forget about those things that really improve the quality. And that's where I said I was very excited about the quality of the citizen. You know, what is the quality of this our citizenship?
All right, Dr. Larry, let's go back to you now. INEC has actually come out to say that out of over 93 million, people who registered for the PVCs, only 87 million, have actually collected their votes. Their PVCs. So it means, over 6 million are yet to collect theirs. Do you think low civic education and voter education is majorly responsible for these people, not being able to collect their PVCs?
No, I will not draw a conclusion that is because of voter education because actually they still have at least a highest turnout as far as I'm concerned. That's number one. Number two, you will check a lot of things. You put a lot of factors. Some might have changed their environment. Some might have lost their lives within the process. And some might have lost interest. And some at the same time might have gone there, like my brother said, one or twice, and they are frustrated and they decided not to go again. So there are many factors you put together as far as Nigeria system is concerned. Lo and behold, they still have the highest turnout. But what important most to us is out of this 83 million, how many people are we expected to come to the pool? Because if you have 83 million and you are seeing about only 20 million turnout for the full voting process himself, that means we are not yet there. So, by and large, there is still much to be done. We cannot, like my brother said, we need to move away from just playing to the gallery every time we have election. We need to institutionalize our election process. And the majority of the political party that he's talking about, they are not, to me, I'm sorry, I always said it, most of these political parties are not institutionalized. They are just there during election, campaign, win election, and go back to their sleep. Go and check most of all these their headquarters after the election. Anything from next month or 2 months. It will be so dry. They will nearly come to work because they believe they don't have anything doing again. And this is the time that you're supposed to go back to the society. You're supposed to think of what to do, think of programs, but they won't. And nobody is holding them accountable. So I believe as time goes on, we'll still have a leader that will come to a level whereby we put all things, because most of all these things are affecting our economy. That's the truth. Like what you mentioned, we make mention of all those laptops. I'm also, it's affecting our economy because they are budgeting a lot of billions of naira for all these things every 4 years, which we don't need. Let me tell you, some of the material that they use now, maybe like laptop, whatever, they won't use it in the next 4 years. They will budget another laptops. Most of the vehicle they budgeted for now, that they are using for one thing or the other now, come next 4 years again. Where are we going to develop? Where are we going? So it's not about, we should not turn election to an opportunity to become rich. It should be a normal thing that becomes part of us, and it will not be a stress something. You should just be stress-free. You wake up in your morning, you find out that today is election day, you just go back home. You are so confident about the system, and there is nothing about this thing, story up and down, this, we are doing. Excuse me, we just need to move forward. That's just it.
I like this twist that Ezenwa and yourself seem to have brought out from this conversation, which is the economics of election. We would leave that for another day. Just like the economics of war. Yeah. But fundamentally, what do we need to do to improve this process? You said something that was striking earlier. You talked about this what appears to be an unhealthy focus on the presidential election. We have seen that even with citizen participation and issues around accountability. We only seem to be holding the federal government to account where there are brazen corruptions happening across the 36 states. Why have we built up that culture of ignoring what is supposed to be the closest government to us and concentrate? Is it a function of the structure of our federalism, or somehow we are giving up hope at the state and local government levels, as it were? Because, even for some of us who are residents in the big cities of Lagos, Abuja, we barely even know our representatives back home and all of that. They have also become the same thing. They are here. Abuja is beginning to feel like a ghost town because now they need people's vote. They have all returned to their constituency for another 2-3 weeks, and perhaps that will be the longest that they will stay for another 4 years. So where do we have this missing link, this seeming lack of interest, whatever it is, on whatever happens at the state and local government level?
Thank you. I think people are afraid of what is close. Anything close. So it's better to talk about what is far. You get what I'm saying? Now, there's also manipulation. And sometimes there is also media, unfortunately. So if you are in Imo State and you're driving and you tune into the radio, 90% of the time they are not talking about the state. The radio station is not the conversation is not talking about the state. When they are doing newspaper review, they are talking about, they take Daily Trust, they take other papers, and 90% of the time the headings are federal. So they talk federal. So over a period of time, the people have no idea that 48% of the national budget resides with the state. And that 52% that the federal has is still distributed. So this consciousness. So everywhere you go to, when the National Assembly passes the budget, things will get better. Your state has budget. Whether your president likes your governor or not, the way we have run our federation, every month Your accountant general and your commissioner for finance comes to Abuja, takes your allocation, ecological fund, derivation, whatever, and go back to your state. And there is a czar, there is an imperial czar in your state who points to the federal to you at every point in time. He doesn't want you to pay attention to him. We are marginalized. The people are marginalized. Your federal legislator is giving constituency projects. He takes his allowances. The minister, whether the president likes him or does not like him, he represents your state in the federal cabinet. So there is a discussion about livestock transformation agenda, Ruga. The minister, is his job to take this policy of government, not to discuss it at the federal council, go to his state and say there is a livestock transformation agenda program that we have conceived at the federal level. It is not a, because it's called Ruga, his nickname is alias Ruga. What it means is that we want Osun State to take an area and make this area a place where we can produce cows and milk. You can go to Argentina and get the best breed. We will give you money as federal government. He will not go home. So the man in my state will say it is a Fulani agenda. And then the state is deprived of the benefit of getting that participation. So the manipulation is huge, and is unfortunate that we are not ready for that conversation yet. And when you say things like this, oh, you are idealistic, oh, you don't understand how this country works. How does it work? You have a budget. Educated people are there. Why do you talk about the federal budget all the time? Why are you so fixated about Buhari? And but you are never interested in having and say, look, what is in this budget for housing, for water, for... So this man does not like us. He hates us so much, but he has put money. And then you even come to the point where the federal is even refunding money to the states, billions of money. And when that money is returned to the states, quiet. Yes. Nobody will hear that money has been. So, but let's go back to the one that is confronting us now. INEC has created additional 52,492 polling units. Out of that, the whole idea of that is to make voting access easy for the majority of people. INEC has said in 240 polling units, 7% of the total votes, they will not be voting in these places. But please, go and take today, go and find out where you'll be voting. Majority of the people are not moved from where they will be voting. These few people, go and find out, so that it is not on Saturday morning.
That's the same.
You start running health. Watch, Dr. Landy, you will not see people take advantage. They will not be bothered. But on Saturday morning, we will focus on those few people who can't find their polling units. Our attention will be on them. And then, because we also have a program of sharing bad news. There's a sense in which the only thing that matters for us is what is not going well. So the majority of the things that go well, and what goes well is in majority. But there is not going to be a focus on that. It's natural in us that what catches our attention is what has not gone well. I saw a news item that 100 coppers have withdrawn. The people who are passing that information have not told us the number of coppers who will be deployed, and that there is also, what do they call it? The people who are in the reserve, in case people withdraw. So, but what is trending? 100 withdraw. So you get the sense that that process has collapsed because 100 people, you understand? So it's a manipulation, and that's the way I see it. We need to get out of that manipulation, and our media, and incidentally, I'm not patronizing your trust and daily trust. The truth is that we need to begin to have a media organizations that are unpacking that are in the business of unpacking these lies and putting the real issues before our people. And then through that, mischief makers will be put at bay.
Okay, still on you, Mr. Ezenwa. Now, hearing you talk about Ruga actually got me thinking about communities that are prone to insecurity, and also, communities that are resistant to any form of change. Now, is it possible, for the environment in which the voters participate to outweigh any voter education campaign?
See, the truth is that if you do an episodic intervention, you will not get good outcomes. And I think that's where I celebrate the point that he made. The determination to do something on a long haul breaks down the resistance. What do people want? Simple things. They want to have good life. I don't know anybody who wants to suffer. I've not seen anybody who says, I don't want good water. I don't want water. If public water runs. I know people want to educate their children. Do you understand what I'm saying? So my point, therefore, is that if we take time, what has happened is that we have allowed processes to build to the point that fear has become the instrument. Fear has been weaponized in a way that it holds down even the capacity of people to think. So that is why you have NOA. How much are you putting in NOA? Go and check their budget. Their budget is what you can put in your back pocket. And that is supposed to be the most important institution for that kind of thing that you are talking about. How much do the traditional and moral institutions, in those communities where you talked about, their traditional institutions are respected. So what did you do with that traditional institution?
Faith-based organization.
No, that's the moral. Those are the. So what did you do with that traditional institution? You decimated that institution to the point where people who have no respect are traditional rulers. People who cannot command the respect of their people are the ones who you have installed as traditional rulers in most of our communities. It was going to be that if there is a quarrel over land, the reason why the traditional institution was respected was that the emir, the chief, can call you and say, what is the problem? You say, me and Lanre, we are quarreling over this parcel of land. The emir can say, Lanre, leave that land, come and take this one. Today, they don't have anything with which they can settle those kind of quarrels. So we are coming from somewhere. Who takes the time to look at where we are coming from? Why it was possible for the traditional institutions to deal with issues. But today, you don't respect them. You have put uneducated people. A community will have a retired permanent secretary. You will take somebody who just finished and impose him. And impose him, and the people know you impose him. They will not respect him. He cannot settle any quarrel. And when there is a problem, you call for the traditional institution. So we have issues. There are issues that deal with that challenge that you are talking about, but our investment is not directed at resolving them. Let me give you a place like the Southeast, for instance. Now you hear IPOB, unknown government, what. Let me tell you something. No ragtag army, quote me, no ragtag army can defeat the state. When the state is quiet, it's benefiting. So the guys who control that place now, every money in the Southeast is security vote. So accountability,
it's not there.
You can't hold. If you say, why have you not done road? You say, don't you know the unknown government has not allowed us to do road. So unknown government has not allowed us to provide. If we go to provide water, the unknown government. So 8 years we go. Nobody will say, in that 8 years, did you get allocation? Did the unknown government stop the allocation? Did they stop the security vote? The civil society space in that place will be so the desire to deal with that challenge will not be there because there is benefit. You and everybody, these things I'm saying, I'm not inventing it. So everybody understands these things. So solving problems. Look at Anambra election. Remember, oh, it will not hold. It will not hold. It will not hold. All of us were that it will not hold. When I went to a training there, I said, look, your budget for 2021 is 220 something billion. This election is about who presides over
that amount.
This amount of money. And I said they will kill all of you if you want to stop
the election.
This election.
Exactly.
So you have to, because you talked about the political economy, you have to understand. And I told them, I said, look, the day of election, the leopard will get into the forest and antelopes will disappear. I said they will all disappear.
Absolutely. Dr. Larry, we are now less than 24 hours to the election. In one of the elections, I can't put my finger to it now, whether it was 2015 or 2019, we saw a surge in the number of invalid votes. Clearly a function of that miseducation or lack of education, as the case may be. For somebody who has participated in this space over and over again, what do you think, especially for new voters? The statistics are showing us that we have a lot of youth coming into that space. Anxiety could just make you misuse the opportunities that you have waited so much for. What do they need to do when they get to these spaces? How are they supposed to, participate in this process and make the process useful, with their participation?
Tomorrow is not a day for voter education. So it's not going to be done tomorrow. If you're going to enlighten anybody about how to vote, how to go about it, is supposed to be done more than 2-3 weeks. Like I personally have been at the rural area for the past 2-3 weeks doing voter education by myself and with some of my team. And I let them realize some of them don't even aware of beavers. That's the truth, at the grassroots. I must tell you the truth. And some of them were still thinking that they will go for accreditation first and they will return later to come and vote. I have to let them, which is the normal way. And that is what we have been saying that there is not enough voter education by the political party themselves, by the NOA. There is no any adequate budget given to them, because NOA is supposed to be at every local government since 1 month or 2 months ago, sensitizing the people, letting the people know this is how the voting will go, this is the time for voting, but nothing like that. And another thing is that there is no consistency in the side of INEC. What do I mean by that is that INEC just came out with a report that, before we know that the election will start by 8 a.m. You just hear 1 week to election, and they say, no, we are not starting by 8 a.m. again, it's 8:30. Is that consistency? So you just hear all manner of emergency information from INEC. These are the information, simple information that you're supposed to tidy up a month to election. We are starting social time. We are ending social time. This is what we are doing. And I must also appreciate them before I forget, because my brother also mentioned it, about redeploying some people from one polling unit to another. They have been sending SMS to those people that they are redeploying.
I have received a mail.
Yeah, they have received the SMS.
That because of congestion, I've been moved to another.
You also receive a mail. Yeah. So some of them that don't have mail receive a SMS. So they show us at the voter education period that, we have received. When we mention it, they show it to us. We have received as a fine. So what you needed to do now is that go and get, but it cannot be far away from you. Be rest assured. Just go ahead and try and look for that new polling unit. And they are all aware of that. Unlike some people now, majority may not aware of it. They just get to the polling unit tomorrow, they start causing problem. Oh wow, I voted here last election. I was here last election. What happened? By the time you have started telling go this way, all these kind of things. So this is the work of INEC, this is the work of a political party, and this is the work of National Orientation Agency and other civil society organizations. So and the media as well. So because don't let me deceive you. One organ cannot develop a nation like ours. Even not only like ours. In any other society, they were all developed by the cooperation of all the civil society, all the necessary agency, and individual that they feel like I need to do this for my nation. But we don't see that. We don't see volunteer on the street. So we should not just be stereotyping all our discussion on INEC alone. We should talk, like my brother said, you should talk about media. Media are also causing a lot. I won't deceive you. They are not giving right. How many media organizations using their 5 seconds after a break, after a news hour to enlighten the public? You are expecting some people to come so that they can pay you, political party to pay you to do it. But they don't need to come and pay you for that. It's your civic right as a media organization to enlighten the people and to contribute your quota to the national development.
Thank you very much, Dr. Larry. I'm sure we are doing just that at Trust TV. Mr. Ezengwa, you had asked me not to use the Mr. Your last thoughts in another 45 to 1 minute on your charge to voters, especially the young population, what to do, how to conduct themselves, so that at the end of the day, we have a result that we can all be proud of as a nation.
A voter has no other responsibility than to vote. Go there, vote, conduct yourself peacefully, and then if you leave the vested interest for the politicians, they are the ones who have vested interest in outcomes, so if you as a voter make sure that you do not succumb to manipulation, inducement, ensure that it's your choice, that this choice is entirely your choice, that it is not because you have been induced or you have been manipulated. The PVC, I've said that all over the place, the PVC is superior to your ATM card. You can have 5 ATM cards. You can only have, no matter who in fact, the richer you are, you can have 20 cards. But whether you are rich or you're poor, you have one PVC. If you are found with more than one, you can get a room in a correctional center. So the equality that PVC brings shows you the power in it. That the president of this country, as powerful as he is, he cannot have more than one PVC. Because if it was power and wealth, they will collect it and be giving it to us. This thing that equalizes all of us, understand that the power that it gives to you and use it to make a choice. I don't like to use right or wrong choice because God is the only one who knows right or wrong. Make sure that you vote your own reality. If your own reality should determine how you vote.
Thank you.
And that for me is the way it should be.
What a perfect way to end this conversation. Make sure you vote your reality, and your reality should determine who you vote. We've been talking to the chairman of Partners for Electoral Reforms, and he has shown very, very good grasp of the issue and has provided very enlightening perspective on the show this morning. As well as Dr. Larry, thank you very much for always being here.
Thank you.